Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Mindscapes Stories of Arts, Commerce, and Science. My name is Malvika Manoj Krishna Nair, and today we have a really special guest among us whose journey beautifully blends research, industry, and community service, Miss Tanvi Patil. She is currently pursuing her PhD at the University of Nebraska Medical Center, has worked with the pharmaceutical giant Cipla, interned at Glenmark, and has been actively involved in cultural and volunteer activities. So, without any further ado, let's dive in and hear her story in her own words. Welcome, Ms. Tanvi. To start with, could you just share a bit about your current PhD research at UNMC? What is the main focus of your work these days?
Thank you for the kind introduction. And current now my research in UNMC is based on finding treatments for brain tumor, which we call as medulloblastoma, and I'm working on development of nanoformulations for treatment of brain tumor. So I will be talking a lot about nanoformulations. So I will try to explain what are nanoformulations in simple terms. So nanoformulations are nanometer size balls which are used to encapsulate medicines for treatment of cancer. And why this nanotechnology is so important in cancer research is because we'll talk something about the biology perspective. Around the cancer there are some blood vessels which have holes in them which are nanometer size. That's why most of the people are working on nanometer size formulation so that they can pass through the holes easily and go and treat cancer. So I'm currently working on that. And whatever formulations or medicines I am making, I test them on animals, especially mice, so that they can be translated further for clinical treatment or clinical research.
Well, that's great.
Thank you.
Now let's rewind a bit. You worked as an assistant manager at Zipla, which is quite impressive. What kind of projects or responsibilities did you handle there?
Okay. So in Cipla, I was working for a brief period of only 10 months. So I didn't get assigned any project of my own during that time, but I was working with my seniors. It is called as shadowing. So I was assisting them or helping them in their projects, and I was working on anti-inflammatory formulation for the treatment of asthma.
So, your time at Glenmark, did that experience help you figure out which part of pharma you did not vibe with and how?
Yeah, so if you go to any pharmaceutical company, they have four departments. One is the research and development department where they try to develop, where they work on developing medicines. Second is the production department where they try to scale up their medicines for a large scale production. And third is the quality control department. And fourth is the quality assurance department. So, I vibe well with the research and development department because it's more application based and you apply all the knowledge which you gain in your bachelor of pharmacy studies. And I didn't vibe well with the quality assurance department because it was more of documentation and I felt that was quite boring. So yeah.
So, which internship taught you the most real life lessons which books never do?
Yeah, so my internship in Glenmark was actually a very short one. And it was more training based. But my period in Cipla, it taught me some good life lessons. First was making connections, not good connections, not only with your department, but good interdepartment connections, because the research and development department will make medicines, but your medicine will only go further when the quality control department will test it. So you need to have good connections with them to get your formulations tested in a timely manner. And second thing was learning and observing and following your seniors, because one important lesson I learned there is when you go in higher institutions like during your masters or in big companies, there nobody really has enough time to teach you from the basics, or they won't give you much time so that you learn everything. So you need to observe them carefully and learn on your own, because in no time you will get your own project, and they will assume that yes, you have learned everything by watching your seniors in 6 months. So that are the two important lessons which I learned
Very
during my
true.
internship.
So let's go even further back. What was the reason you chose science field after your SSC examination? Was there any defining moment or just an influence behind the decision?
Okay, so I was not influenced by anybody, but when I was in my 10th standard, I really started liking chemistry a lot, because the one important thing which was taught in chemistry, because was life starts from chemistry, a cell. It is everything but chemistry. So, and I would also like to give credit for this to my teachers in school. They taught the subject really well. Sometimes the teacher also influences the student's decision to pursue the career further. So, yeah.
And once you knew you wanted to study science, what in particular made you choose ICT and pharmacy?
Okay. So, as I told you, during my 10th standard, I was very much interested in chemistry. But when I entered junior college, I developed a strong liking for biology as well. And again, I would like to give credit for this to the Bitco College biology teachers. They made biology very interesting, and then my mother suggested me that pharmacy is a very good combination of chemistry as well as biology, so that made me go further with pharmacy.
The process of getting a seat at ICT is famously tough. Could you shed some light on how you managed or navigated that admission journey?
Okay. So during my time, ICT gave admission for B pharmacy based on the CET, Common Entrance Test, and it is entirely based on the SSC board syllabus which we study in
Okay.
11th and 12th standard. So yeah, that I went through the textbooks very thoroughly, and I got a good ranking in the pharmacies. I appeared for both PCM and PCB groups, and I got a really good score in the PCB group. So I was second in the state for that. That's why I got admission in ICT in the first round.
Well, that's very impressive. Later, you pursued your MPharm. So, what efforts did you have to put in to secure admission and then later move into your research studies?
Okay. Um, so after my B Farm, when anybody has to appear for M Farm, there is a test called GPAT. It's Graduate Pharmacy Aptitude Test. It is same as GATE, which is there for engineering test. So I appeared for GPAT, and after I qualified GPAT, my master's college NIPER, it is National Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research. So they have their own entrance exam, which students can only appear if they have qualified the GPAT exam. So I qualified GPAT first, and then I appeared for the NIPER entrance examination, and I secured a good rank there. My rank, all India rank, was 22, so I could get into my um, the branch which I liked, and the college. There are total six snipers all over India. So I went to Sniper Mohali based on the exam which I qualified.
So, during your masters at NIPER, you developed nano formulations for breast cancer treatments, which sounds fascinating. Could you walk us through what exactly your project involved?
Yeah. So during my master's project, I had to develop novel formulations for the treatment of breast cancer. So again, my favorite chemistry part came in there, because I had to develop prodrugs there. So prodrugs are nothing but some chemicals conjugated to the actual medicine of treatment, like the fatty acid. If we conjugate fatty acid to the actual medicine, then the activity of that medicine is enhanced. So I had to I had to work on developing chemical synthesis and prodrugs, and then I encapsulated those in the nano formulation again, and I tested them on cancer cells. At that time, um, unfortunately, COVID struck, so I could not go further for testing those in animals. But this is the general procedure which is followed in any type of research. First, the formulation is developed, then it is tested on cancer cells, and then it is tested on cancer bearing animals. And further, if it succeeds, it goes further for clinical research for humans. Yeah.
So you have also worked hands-on with analytical tools like NMR and HPLC.
Yeah.
Terms that might sound complex to
Yeah.
some.
Yeah.
Out of this, which one do you feel most comfortable using, and what makes it your personal favorite?
Yeah, so that's a good question because my personal favorite is HPLC. It is high pressure liquid chromatography, and it is used for the analysis of drug content. Like I mentioned, we put the drug in the nano formulation, so there's a, certain desired amount of drug which we want in the formulation. So that is analyzed by HPLC. So like if I want 10 milligram of drug in the nano formulation, I will, once I make the formulation, I break it, and whatever drug comes out in the solution, I analyze it by HPLC. So I know it's difficult to understand, but yeah, it's my favorite because I use it
But it
frequently.
sounds so interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So you're also writing a whole book chapter. How did that happen?
Yeah, so the invitation for writing a book chapter generally comes to the a person who is your advisor for your master's thesis or your master's project. So he introduced me into writing the book chapter when I was in my second year of MPharm. But how that happened is because during my first year, when I had to take some pharmacy subjects, my guide was teaching some of those subjects to me. So when he corrected my exams, he really liked the answers which I wrote in my exam. So based on that, he felt that I was a good candidate to write the book chapter. So these small things, if you which you feel don't matter, they actually matter in the long run.
Make a
So
lot of
yeah,
changes.
yeah. So they give you a lot of opportunities. So I would suggest, based on these experience or these opportunities which I got, do everything very sincerely, even if it's the smallest thing, even if it's the smallest exam, do it thoroughly and give your best in that. So it will lead you to good opportunities.
Something that really caught my attention was your article on HPV awareness among pharmacy students. What sparked your interest in that topic, and why do you think that it is necessary to learn or understand?
That's a good question. So HPV, it is basically human papilloma virus. It is a leading cause of cervical cancer, and cervical cancer is currently the second most widely occurring cancer in Asia. So there was a person, his name was Dr. Nyanesh Limaye. He was working in clinical research in one German institute. So he was known to one of my colleague in my bachelor of pharmacy. So she introduced us to him, and not only this topic, he was trying to do some statistics and some surveys on such many of the widely occurring diseases in India. So he wanted some help from students to do a survey and then publish an article on that. So based on the survey, he wanted to show whether any changes are needed based on the awareness in the syllabus of students, so that they are well acquainted with everything.
Fabulous work. You have achieved remarkable ranks in competitive exams like GPAT, the NIPER entrance, and JNU CEE. Looking back, what do you think really?
The question.
Yeah, sure. You have also achieved remarkable ranks in competitive exams like GPAT, the NIPER entrance, and JNU CEP. Looking back, what do you think really helped you to prepare and succeed in those exams?
So, for my NIPER and GPAT entrances, I actually took some classes. Uh, they, uh, f- um, they were owned by a person who was pursuing PhD in Institute of Chemical Technology. So he runs classes in Nasik. It is called as Academy of NIPER Aspirants.
तुझ्या उत्तरापासून तू सुरू कर
Correct.
and you will have to be louder bit.
Okay.
नाही तुझा येतो ना अरे you try to be little bit
On
louder.
this question?
No, let the question be as it is. She'll answer. ठेवायचं तिथेच.
So for my GPAT and NIPER entrance preparation, I took some classes which were conducted by a person who was pursuing PhD in ICT, and it was called as Academy of NIPER Aspirants because mainly the students who went there, they aim to go to NIPER, all the pharmacy students. So they had a very extensive study of the exam pattern, exam questions, and how they had took some really good notes to sum up the whole Pune University syllabus in short. So they gave me a really good coaching and practice. Main thing was practicing the papers because these tests are generally stress tests. So you need to try to answer all the questions in a limited time frame. So
Okay.
they had their own test series as well. So they really helped me in the preparation for these exams particularly.
So, which competition do you think was the toughest one to crack?
So the GPAT, Graduate Pharmacy Aptitude Test, was the toughest to crack. I remember because I was not confident at all after the paper ended, but I managed to qualify that entrance exam. Oh, okay. So for me, among all the exams, GPAT was the toughest to crack because one main reason was there were a lot of questions to answer in a very limited time, and even I was very nervous after my exam. I was very doubtful whether I would qualify the exam or not, but fortunately I qualified and then I went for the night.
With flying colors.
Not with flying colors, but I qualified that exam. I qualified the NIPER entrance exam with flying colors, I would say.
So let's go back to your undergraduate days. You worked on a project related to xerostomia. For my curiosity, what is xerostomia and what are the formulations you proposed?
Okay. So xerostomia is nothing but dry mouth, and it occurs because of various reasons. It might be infection, or many people suffer from dry mouth after they go extensive chemotherapy. So I had proposed a gel formulation which could attach to the mouth so that it forms a soothing layer or a coat on the dry mouth so that it would heal.
Wow. Now let's go out of academics. You have been involved in cultural events, dramas, and Kathak dance. That's amazing. How do you think that these creative pursuits influence your research or professional life?
So, dance, drawing, or drama, anything such things. One important thing which I realized after appearing for dance exams for drama is they build your stage confidence. In future, when you have to speak in front of so many people, you have your drama experience in mind, and they also help you get away from your hectic research schedule or your hectic class schedule, and they help you basically relax and rejuvenate. So,
You have also dedicated time to volunteer with organizations like NSS, the Rotaract Club, and AAPS. What part of volunteering do you find most fulfilling?
so, most fulfilling experiences were for the NSS, the National Service Scheme, and road track events, because these events are more focused on um, addressing some real life problems. Like they will have events such as cleaning the subway or beautifying the station. So you really get a satisfaction of doing something good or doing something for the people or your own country. So that.
So, what's been your favorite event or cause to volunteer so far?
I think one event under the NSS scheme was going to a remote village and teaching the kids.
Wow.
So and conducting some art and craft activities for them. So that was a very fulfilling and memorable.
If you could give a TED talk on any pharma topic, what would that be?
So I would personally love to do a research on my own on how artificial intelligence would help in making affordable medicines available to people who really can't afford expensive medicines. So I would like I even I don't have a good read or good knowledge on that, but I would like to read and give a TED talk on that
Uh,
topic.
if you had to name your biggest strength or quality that you
रिपीट करेगी
okay.
Sorry. That's it.
If you had to name your biggest strength or quality that you bring to your research and professional work, what would that be?
That's a great question. So, an important quality which I think every researcher should inculcate, and I think it naturally develops, is consistency.
Mm.
Because not only in research but in anything you do, because research or any competitive exams, they are very hard. So one thing is you need to keep on trying, never give up, always have some backups. If your experiments fail, then you need to have plan B and plan C ready, what you are going to do, because once your experiment fails, and you cannot start thinking after that that now what I will do. You need to be on your toes, be ready with your plans, and be consistent. That's what I will say.
That's great. And before we wrap up, what message would you like to give to the students who intend to opt this field?
The research field you are saying, I would say work hard. Keep as I said, keep your options ready. Don't feel disappointed if you don't get what you want, because one more thing which I did not mention was, when I was really interested in chemistry, I wanted to go to ISER, Indian Institute of
Mm.
Scientific Education and Research, and but the entrance was extremely difficult. I appeared for that entrance, but unfortunately I did not qualify for that, and I was disappointed. But then I had my option 2 ready of pursuing pharmacy, and I had worked really hard for pharmacy exam as well, and now I'm happy in what I'm doing. So don't get disappointed if you don't get, or if your plans don't succeed. God has something better for you
Better for you.
to pursue, and you will do good in whatever you pursue.
Thank you so much. So that's it. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
joining
much.
us today and sharing an inspiring journey
Thank you.
from labs and classrooms to stages and beyond. It's been wonderful learning how you balance science and creativity all together, balancing science and lab. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
So you both were very good.
Thank you.
If anything good goes bad, it